Hey, what is up guys, Ramhana1 here, and today I'm going to be covering my Umbralis deck profile for July 2013. Now, I believe these cards have been released today in Japan, that is the 20th of July, so I think it's a pretty good time to cover the deck. Anyway, so Umbralis, as if you've been following me since these cards have been announced, you will know that I am a big fan of this archetype and I've been really trying and striving to make this deck the best it can be. I haven't necked deck at all. I haven't checked out anybody else's deck profiles or anything about these cards, so this is 100% my build. I haven't seen anyone else's deck, so there could be a deck that I just haven't even thought of that is amazing. But anyway, this deck on its own is a pretty powerful deck, and I'm actually really proud with the final outcome of it. So anyway, let me just quickly run over the cards in it. First off, we have 3 Chameleon, 3 Cage to Cage, 3 Mystic Tomato, 2 Summoner Monk, 3 Umbralis Ghoul, 3 Umbralis Unform, 3 Umbralis Will-o'-the-Wisp, 1 Allure of Darkness, 2 Dark Eruption, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, 2 Magical Mallet, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Rank Up Magic Barion's Force, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Mirror Force, 2 Safe Zone, 1 Solomon Warning, 2 Spirit Barrier. And as you can see here, I have 2 Pot of Duality, but that is not the card in the deck. The card I am actually running is 2 Pot of Duplicity. Now, Pot of Duplicity is a really good card that is not yet on Dueling Network, but its effect is, at the start of the main phase 1, target 3 monsters with different types in the graveyard, shuffle all 3 of them into the deck, then draw 2 cards. You cannot conduct the battle phase during the turn you activate this effect. Now, the reason I'm running this card over Duality is because Duality is really going to hinder the deck and basically kill all momentum and the main point of the deck. The main point of the deck is to XYZ summon. You're always going to be special summoning. If you go a turn without special summoning, then there's something wrong there. And if you're going to use Duality to stop yourself from special summoning, well, there's no point running Umbralis. There's no point running an Umbralis deck because that really hinders you. Now, skipping your battle phase is a completely another thing on its own, but to stop yourself special summoning, to stop yourself getting the monsters out, that is just a really bad move in this sort of deck. So that's why I'm not running Duality. I'm running Duplicity, and hopefully it will be on Dueling Network soon, so I can start running this deck to its full potential. Anyway, so like I said, the main point of this deck is to special summon and get your XYZs out to get the things in your extra deck out. So there are lots of different ways you can do that. Ghoul, use his effect, go into Unform. Unform attack, summon 2 Ghoul, finish off your opponent's side of the field, deal a little bit more damage if the monsters are weak enough to do so. Then in the main phase 2 XYZ summon. Normal summoning any card, going into Cage to Cage, boom, 2 level 4. Summon a Monk, using his effect, discard a spell, go into Ghoul, use Ghoul's effect, go into Unform, there you go, you got 3. Mystic Tomato gets destroyed. Summon Unform. Next turn attack with Unform. Summon 2 monsters, 2 ghouls maybe. Use one of Ghoul's effect in the main phase 2. Summon Will-o'-the-Wisp from the hand. Use it Will-o'-the-Wisp effect. There you go. 3 level 4s. There are so many different ways to get lots of level 4 monsters out on the field. So that should never ever be a problem. And there are lots of different ways in the deck to help with that. And just to really push cards into the hand, cards onto the field, and so on and so forth. So, go through the spell cards. Allure of Darkness. Draw 2 cards, then banish 1 dark monster from your hand. There you go. That's 2 cards straight to the hand. Just banish 1. Whether it be, just try and banish what you don't need at that moment of time. So, things like Mystic Tomato you can push off. Will-o'-the-Wisp you can push off. And then you move up a step. So, then push Cage to Cage away. Then push Unform away. And then try and keep the Summoner Monks and the Ghouls as much as you possibly can, because those are the cards I find most success with in this deck. Dark Eruption. Target 1 dark monster with 1,500 or less attack in the graveyard. Add that target to your hand. That is the majority of the cards in this deck. Summoner Monk, Unform, Cage to Cage, Mystic Tomato, and Will-o'-the-Wisp. You're just getting a free card back to your hand. And if you get something like Summoner Monk, you can just then go straight into 3 level 4 monsters if the conditions are right. Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, of course, most decks. Magical Mallet. Now, the thing about this deck is, if you, let's just say for an example, your first hand is a mix of 5 spells and 5 traps, and magical mallet, of course. You need to re-roll. You need to re-roll that dice. There are situations in this deck that you literally cannot do anything, and that's why this isn't going to be the greatest deck, and it's not going to win every single tournament and so on and so forth. But you want that opportunity. You want that opportunity to re-roll and get some new cards in your hand and get some new plays. Even if you draw this card a few turns in, you have 3 cards in your hand, all pretty much just traps and spells that aren't doing anything. Throw the magical mallet down, and boom, fresh new hand. That could be a, I don't know, that could be a Shockmaster on the field. So, magical mallet's there because I really think this deck needs a reroll. If you need one. Monster Reborn, of course. Again, staple and really good card for this deck. Special summon just any monster. Conditions are right again. Go into Ghoul, use Ghoul's effect. Go into Unform. Go into Monk, use Monk's effect. So on and so forth. Conditions are right. You can get more cards from just one Monster Reborn. Rank up Magic Baron's Force. Now the reason I run 2 of these is because I only have one Chaos number monster. The reason I run 2 is just because it increases the chances of getting Baron's Force to my hand for the Chaos monster, Masquerade Magician Shining into Masquerade Magician Umbralis. The other reason I run 2 is just for ammo for Summoner Monk. This is the main thing that those rank magic cards get used for, is for Summoner Monk. And they're also there, they also have this additional effect that I can use for my Chaos monster. So that's why I have 2 of them instead of 1. So I hope you understand that. 2 bottomless trap holes, of course. 1 mirror force. 2 safe zone, really interesting play involved in this card. I'll cover that here soon. 1 Solomon warning. 2 spirit barrier. And of course I've covered the 2 pot of duplicity. So these are just pretty much basic traps. Now the safe zone thing I'll cover in a minute. Spirit barrier is there. While you control a monster, you take no battle damage. Now this is a just in general, it's nice not to take battle damage, but it really works because Unform, you need to attack and destroy it yourself to get to special summon 2 Umbralis monsters from the deck. Now, it has 0 attack, so you're going to be taking a lot of damage if you're attacking certain monsters. So, if you've got a Spirit Barrier there, it's really good, and especially Will of the Wisp, you're attacking with that, you're going to take the damage, and then you can destroy the monster. With Spirit Barrier, you don't have to take the damage, and you can still destroy the monster. And then in any other situation, if your opponent summons a big monster and they're trying to attack for game, and you have Spirit Barrier, and they're attacking into like cage to cage or so on and so forth, summon a monk, then you have that to fall back on just to not take the battle damage. It's just a nice card in general. Then I've already covered the play with Pot of Duplicity. Now the extra deck, Stardust Dragon. Now Chameleon is a really wild card in this deck, and I don't think many people have thought about that for their Umbralis decks. Basically, when this card is normal summoned, you can target 1 monster with 0 defense in the graveyard, special summon that target in face-up defense position. That's all 3 different types of the Umbralis monsters, so 9 different cards you can summon using this card, and then you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can either go into an XYZ, and we have lots of XYZs to choose from, or you can go into a Stardust Dragon. A Stardust Dragon is a very good monster, probably the best level 8 synchro monster in my opinion. So you can go into this and you basically just it's an extra bit of defense. It's a bonus little bit of defense for your for all of your monsters. So that's why I run Stardust Dragon, and that's why I think it's the best synchro monster, the best level 8 synchro monster, and I just think it's a really good addition to this deck. Then of course you have all of these XYZs. Gaga Cowboy, mainly its defense effect, but its attack effect does come in handy sometimes, mainly using that for game. Gemlight Pearl, you're doing a lot of attacking with this deck to get your opponent's life points to 0, so Gemlight Pearl is a good card because it's the strongest in terms of attack XYZ rank 4 monster that only requires 2 level 4 monsters. Masquerade Magician Shining, this is a very interesting card. During your opponent's battle phase, when your opponent monster activates its effect, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card and negate the effect, and if you do, inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. That's a good effect. It's not always useful because your opponent's effects aren't usually used during the battle phase. They normally use at other points in the duel, but it's still good nonetheless. Its other effect is really useful though. Once per turn, you can send the top card of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. So I'm really happy about that effect. Now, Shockmaster. Now, the thing about this deck is you can go into a first turn Shockmaster, which I love. I think going into a first turn Shockmaster is a really good play, and I think some people will disagree with me. So let me just let me cover my points and tell you guys why I think it is a really good first turn play. So using first turn Shockmaster does a lot of things for you. So first turn Shockmaster, first off, you don't need to target traps. You don't need to target traps at all because they can't activate trap cards. So now you can either target spells or monsters. Now if you're in a match and you've seen your opponent's deck, you are at a huge advantage at this point. So let's just say, for example, you're facing Prophecies. Activate Shockmaster's effect, stop your opponents using spells on the next turn. That's their first turn pretty much, for the most part, ruined, unless they have 3 spellbooks and a High Priestess, and there are ways about it, but that's pretty much their first turn ruined. Maybe you're facing Dragon Rulers. Use this card's effect on monster effects. There you go, that's pretty much their first turn ruined. Shockmaster, in a match environment, pretty much can ruin your opponent's first turns. If you're not in a match environment, it's just a single duel or the first round of a match, then just take a gamble. Targeting spells or monsters is really going to hinder your opponent no matter what their deck is, unless it's just a pure monster deck, which you don't see much of nowadays. But most of the time, targeting either spells or monsters is really going to hinder their first turn. Like I said, you don't need to worry about traps because they can't activate traps first turn. So then you pretty much ruin their first turn. You get into your second turn and you have this lineup. You have a Shockmaster. If they have a nice back row, now you can target traps. Now you summon up a bunch of monsters, get another XYZ out, get another 2 XYZs out, get a Stardust Dragon out, so on and so forth. Now you're going for the kill. You start attacking, start lowering your opponent's life points down. First turn Shockmaster is one of the best ways to use this deck, and my favourite play to start off a duel with this deck. So first turn Shockmaster is really good. Then you have the staples: Black Ship of Corn, Papal Operative, Steel Swarm Roach, so on and so forth. Crazy Box, as I said when I reviewed this card, I don't really use its effects. I mainly use this card as a wall. I think it's a very good wall. Only use its effects when you know you have something else to fall back on. Don't go into this card using it as a wall and then roll the dice, because there's a chance you're going to have to destroy it. There's a chance you're going to lose half your life points. If you're summoning this card to use as a wall, use it as a wall, and when you have you've drawn enough cards, or you have a play to go by, and you have something else to go fall back on, that's when you use Crazy Box's effect. Masquerade Magician Umbralis. This is a pretty good card. When it's special summon, target 1 spell trap card on the field, destroy it. While this card has Masquerade Magician Shining attached to it, it gains the effect. Once per turn, when a monster's effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, negate that activation, then send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. And if you do, half your opponent's life points. That is a very good effect. It just always negates your opponent's effects, not just on the battle phase. So that is why I run this card, and that is why, if you can get it out, it is a good card to have out. So Masquerade Magician Umbralis, very good card. And then number 66, Master Key Beetle, the last card of this deck. Now there's a really interesting play. Most of the cards are dark except Chameleon, so you're always going to be able to summon this card. Now its effect is, once per turn you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 other card your opponent you control. Now while this card is face up on the field, that card cannot be destroyed by card effects. If this face up card would be destroyed while you control one of those cards, you can send one of those cards to the graveyard instead. Now what a really good thing to do is summon Master Key Beetle, activate Safe Zone on it, and then use Master Key Beetle's effect on Safe Zone. So you're pretty much in a loop. So now Master Key Beetle cannot be destroyed because of Safe Zone, and Safe Zone cannot be destroyed because of Master Key Beetle. So you got this nice invincible loop on the field. So maybe you have a Spirit Barrier on the field as well. So now you have this almost invincible monster on the field, plus Spirit Barrier, so if they summon anything more powerful than Master Key Beetle, you're not going to take any damage, and you can pretty much, you can either use this to just freely attack your opponent directly until you win, or you can use this as a nice stalling tactic until you build up enough cards to go into whatever you want and attack for game, or destroy their monster and go for game, so on and so forth. So, Safe Zone, a Master Key Beetle lock, loop, very nice effect, very nice combo, very nice lock, and a very nice thing to fall back on in this deck. I really like it. But anyway guys, that is my Umbralis deck profile for July 2013. I really hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would do to improve it. But anyway guys, this is round panel 1. Like I said, hope you enjoyed the deck, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.